Hey, new baseball fan here. I just watched this show called Win or Lose on Disney Plus. Pretty great. And I just wanted to rank my characters based off of my personal experiences and, everything that I can sympathize with them and, how well I understand them too. Because I feel like the characters all go through their own struggles. And if you haven't experienced what they're struggling with, it's kind of hard to relate to them. So this is just going to be my personal opinion. Not saying this is the best of all, just saying what I think on the show. Because it really was great. I feel like every character was phenomenal in their own way. So I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. Back to the video. In first place is Kai. She begins her story dealing with the move from her old place. I know how this feels as I moved multiple times and had to adjust, never really finding belonging. Luckily for Kai, this is not the case, as she discovers the pickles and her world slowly starts to brighten. We see this in her new style and her choice of clothes, ditching the black hoodie and swapping it for pink or light pastels. As she develops on the team, she is put into multiple stressful positions where she has to be the backbone of her team, and with the constant stress of her dad, she develops a perfection complex, expressing that she feels like she has to be perfect when talking to Lori, another member on the team. Where an anxious Lori responds, "I think this is supposed to be fun." We see this constant stress manifest physically with her sprained ankle and mentally with her sinking to the ground whenever she is disappointed. And as a late starter to both of my sports, I was constantly urged by friends, classmates, coaches, and parents to be better and or take it more seriously. In second place is Lori. Lori is the coach's daughter, who isn't that good at baseball, but always keeps her morals high, but her confidence low, as she is usually so nice to her teammates, but is so hard on herself. And she has this manifesting anxiety whenever she, messes up a play or, just doesn't feel confident in general. Anxiety is always with her. Luckily, she sees her dad as this light and the thing that makes her feel confident again, which is why towards the end at the championship game, her dad is the one who's able to get her out of it and keep her in the game. Lori depends on her dad, which is why at the end of the show, she makes the decision to quit the team. I feel like this was the best for her and really shows her growth, as she's not just trying to impress others or, be there for her dad, but she's doing something she knows is good for herself. As she's tried and she keeps trying and she finally does accomplish getting on base, but at what cost? And I can relate to her because, I wasn't always the best at basketball. I still am not. And I get her, especially dealing with my own anxiety, which I had to face same as Lori when, playing in public spaces and having everybody watch me, which I wasn't really used to. But yeah, I feel like Lori is a great character and it really shows a lot of people who aren't the best at sports but who still try. Next is Ewan. He's a boy who comes off as cool, cocky, and confident, but we see in his relationship with Taylor that he's really super insecure. And I feel like sometimes we all go through this where we're uncomfortable, but we have to make ourselves feel comfortable. And we all have those, defense mechanisms to keep us from, feeling too uncomfortable. And I feel like Ewan's is just acting. And, throughout the show, it does get the best of him for better or for worse. But at least you can sympathize with him with his heart and his little midget, self. And it really just shows like the two sides it could be to a person. And I feel like sometimes I can be a Ewan, Well, not as mean as him, but you get it. Maybe just talking a lot, trying to socialize if you're too scared to, or just doing the opposite of what you don't want to happen. And yeah, but I really like his character. I really like how he shows, the typical teenager relationship with him and Taylor. And I also like how he kind of develops at the end, and he always recognizes his mistakes, even if sometimes he may not show it. This might mess up my whole ranking, but this Rochelle is going in second place, actually. She was my fan favorite throughout the whole show and kept me hooked. I also loved her design and her dynamic with her mom, which I'm going to get into in 1 second. Rochelle is really the best on the team, chronologically, and, everybody kind of hints at it. But yeah, I feel like this was she's amazing. Like, her design is so nice. And I feel like her dynamic with her mom is a lot of us, really almost all of us. And I feel like, as because the price for the softball team goes up, she feels like, oh my God, I have all this pressure, like all this money I have to make and nobody's helping me. And it makes her see her mom as kind of insecure, which is really not the case, we find out later on. But yeah, it's like she just feels this pressure and she ends up getting into a cheating scandal, which turns out into tutoring, but at first started as a cheating scandal to help her teammate Tom, which she was going to get $50 for, but it doesn't work out. And she ends up lying to her mom, which is really out of her character. And it shows how goals can sometimes blind track us from our personal growth, as Rochelle really was overstressing. She was overthinking. Yes, making that money was a big deal and probably took a lot on her. But at the same time, Rochelle was thinking like an adult all the time, which she did not have to. We find out her mom's actually very protective and will do whatever for her kids. Rochelle, because she wasn't in her mom's life like that, just didn't know. Rochelle's also very cool as she stands up for Lori. She's very thick-skinned, and sometimes she even comforts those around her, and she helps her teammates. She helps her mom, of course, which is also her factors of why she's so stressed, and really just shows how good of a person she is with helping her teammates, helping her mom, and helping those around her. And I like the cool detail of how things float around her when she's overwhelmed. And yeah, guys, that was part 1. Let me guys know your feedback, comments, and everything, so I know what to do for part 2. Also, I just want to let you guys know I was a little rushed into doing this, so it wasn't the best with my speaking, but next one will be fully coordinated and it will be great. So don't even worry about that, guys. See you.